Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about projects and specifically for the industry of construction. So we are going to show here how can you create a set of tasks or steps automatically. How can you use a Kanban view, a Gantt view, a table view, a map view to manage your projects. And we are going to also show you a few other automations to make your life easier and more organized. So, Cruz, what's the idea of construction planner? Why people that have this kind of problem should use this app, and how should they use it, and what kind of problems does the solution solves for the end user and for the manager?
Cool. So there are two main things that this template solves. So when we talk with clients, when we collect feedback from people, we found out that there are mainly two main sore spots that they have with their platforms, with the systems they're using, with whatever solution they're using for project management, which is not having first the planning part. So you can have a project and that project is divided in steps. And when we talk about construction, the thing is that they're usually very standardized. So you don't have different steps for different construction for different projects. You can have different steps. So maybe there's a project that has a very specific type of step of stage, something that you have to do like differently from the others. But for the most part, you have projects that are mostly the same. So you have like to build the foundation, you have like interior finish, exterior finish, and so on. So you can kind of standardize them. So the first part is having this platform where you can create a project and it's going to give you all of your steps automatically, and then you can just work around this template that the platform has provided for you. And then you can compare for the estimated time, for the time that you're actually realizing. So if this was planned to be executed within 2 months, so you can see if it was executed within 1 month or 3 months, so you can plan accordingly. The second part is keeping track of expenses, right? So this is another problem that people have, that you usually don't have the same both of these things in the same platform, right? So you usually have a platform for planning, and then you have a different platform for the expenses. Or even if you have them in the same platform, they don't connect very well. So it's kind of like having two different spreadsheets. So there's no use to having them in the same platform because they're not talking to each other very well. So the idea here is to have an expense tracker part in which you can extract reports and compare if you're going over budget and so on. So it's very easy to both plan this operationally, so you can see if everything is going as according to plan, and you can also keep track of things financially, so you can see everything that was spent. You have the receipts. If you have to search for something like how much did I spend on like bricks on the last time, you can check the history log, so you have all of this information in the same place. So I'm going to show how this template works. I'm just going to give an overview here. So you can see that the main part of the app, we have it divided in three parts. So the first part is the construction app itself. And you can see that we have a Kanban board for projects. So this is the main project, right? So I'm going to build this one that I'm calling Skyline Towers, and it's in progress. And there's all sorts of condensed information here, for example, progress, budget spent, but I'm going to talk about this a little later on. We have the same information presented differently up top here. It's not a Kanban board. Now I have a table for the project, but I can actually open this project here, and I can see all the connected information for it. So I have the project, but I also have the steps, and I also have the expenses here. So you can see that I can check everything that's happening with this project without having to go to a different screen, opening a different part of the app, so I can check everything from within here. But I'm going to explain how all the information is connected later on as well. And also I have a map for the projects, so I can just select a specific project here. So for example, Skyline Towers, and this is going to filter the map. This is also going to filter the table, so I can uncollapse this and see all the information here. And this is going to filter the Kanban board as well. So if I have to check any information here, I can just open the card and see everything here. So the second part of the app is not regarding the main project itself, but it's regarding the steps, right? So each stage of the project. So you can see here, I'm going to select Skyline Towers here, that every project has a set of steps. So for example, I have here, let's check the names. I have site preparation, I have foundation construction, I have framing and structural work, and so on until the project is finished. And the cool thing here is that I have for example, the Skyline Towers project, I have the estimated Gantt chart. So I have, if everything goes according to plan, this is how things are going to go chronologically, right? So it's going to start on June 13th for the site preparation, and it should end next month. And then we're going to start foundation construction and so on. So I can see all of this information, how the project is going to go. So this is the estimated, this is the planned part, right? But also I have here on the bottom Gantt chart, the realized Gantt chart. So I can check to see if I'm keeping with the same time of the estimate. And this means that I can check it to see if anything is like being delayed, or if I'm finishing my tasks early. So you can see here we have an example that for site preparation for the Skyline Towers, the estimated Gantt chart shows me that site preparation should go from June 13th to the next month. But if I check it, the realize, I can see that I finished like about a week earlier. So I have this this duration bar here is a little bit smaller. So this shows me that I'm a little bit ahead of planning, right? So this is also one thing that people want to see in the platform, which is, okay, so I planned for this to happen. Am I is everything going according to plan? Are things going better? Are things going worse than I planned? So you can check both here and see all the information. And also I have the steps by a Kanban board view. So everything here is the same information, but I'm seeing them in three different manners. Site preparation, I can see the estimate, I can see the realize, and also I can see as a Kanban board, and then I can open the card and see everything here.
You can also see the connected data as well on the
exactly
on the card, correct? Because some people don't know, because we usually just show the chat, but you can also access your connected records there.
Exactly. So for this part, we have no connected information because this step is connecting to project. So if I open the project, then I'm going to be able to see all the connected data. So I'm going to show you guys here. So everything that's connected to the main project is here, the expenses, the steps, and so on. So those are the steps, right? And then I have the third part of the app, which is expense reports. So I can see how much I spent per date. I can see how much I've spent per project. And then I can filter. So I can see by project here, or I can filter by date. So I only want to see things from the 11th to the 13th, and it's going to get the information, right? And down here, I have an expense log. So this is basically a history log of all of the expenses. And basically, if I want to export this as a report, all I have to do is click here, and it's going to provide me with a Excel file or a CSV file and so on. So I'm going to show you guys myself creating a new project, and you guys are going to see this in action, right? So first thing that I'm going to do is create a new project, and I'm going to add a cover here. So I'm just pasting a image that I got online. So this is Jestor Villa, and the description is just example text. So I'm just going to write anything here. So the address is in California. And for the budget, I'm just going to input any information. Of course, this is way lower than it should be, but it's just for example purposes. And for the estimated start date, I'm going to start with 1st of July, right? So I'm going to save this. And I forgot to pre-organize this so it goes to plan. So I'm just going to put this here. So you can see here that I have the card now for Jestor Villa. I can open this card and see everything about it. But one thing that happened automatically is that all of these steps for Jestor Villa were created automatically. You can see here, I have 6 steps for Jestor Villa. So I have site preparation, foundation construction, framing and structuring, and so on. For this automation, I'm putting them with 1 month duration for each step. So you can see that it starts at July, then it goes to August, then September, and so on. You can change this in the automation later, but the idea here is just to provide you with a framework. It's kind of like a template of the project within the template. So you just have to create the project and everything else is created automatically, right? So if I check now, if I go to Jestor Villa, I have the map, I have the card here, and I can open the steps to see, and I can also see the expenses. I don't have any expense yet, but if I look at the project steps here, I can also come here, select Jestor Villa, and I have everything that I need. So everything is pre-planned automatically. So I can start working, right? If I wanted, I could just like, oh, we're going to start working here. So and put in a duration and so on. So everything is being created automatically, right? So cool. So if I go back to the construction app, I have here Jestor Villa. I can also add a new expense here. So let's say that I'm going to buy like I'm just going to put bricks, which is what I've put in before. The expense date is today, and it cost me $2,000. I could also provide a receipt or invoice here. So I'm going to save. And you can see that this automatically already like updated this. So I have the construction expenses here. I have 2,000. It automatically sums every expense that I've had within this project. And it's already updating the goal field here. I can see that I have still $8,000 left in the budget. So I could just create a new expense. So this is like for tools, and this one was yesterday, and it was $1,000. So I'm going to save this, and it updated everything again. So you can see here $3,000 in total. I can see all of the expenses. I can see the goal field here showing me how much I've already spent of the budget, right? So I can check things here and so on. So the idea here is that now I can just start working on this project, right? So let's say that we're going to start with the first step, right? So site preparation, I've already put in the information here, so you guys can see here. So I'm just going to get them to the same date. All right. So I have here site preparation, and I can start working on it. So maybe I'm putting in progress here, and you can see that it updates everything. So maybe for the Kanban board, let's say we're already finished with site preparation. I'm going to move this to done, and it's going to automatically update every other part of the platform. So now I can go to foundation construction. So I'm going to start here. and then I can just get here and put it in progress. And you can see that the Gantt is automatically colored for the status that the step is in, and so on. So this is how it's working. So let's talk about structure here. I have the construction projects. So for each project, I have a cover, so it's an image. I have a title, a description. I have an address field, which is an integration with Google. So I don't have to type in all of the address. I can just type in something like Springfield, and it's going to search for an address in Google. So you can just select it, and it's going to update it automatically. I have the estimated start and end date. So this is what I'm planning for the project to start and end. And then I have the actual start and end dates. So the idea here is that you're going to fill this in and then compare later with the estimates, right? I also have a budget field, which is a currency field in which I put in my budget. I have an automatic roll-up field, which is getting all of the expenses. I'm going to show you guys the structure later on. I have a goal field, which is comparing the spend field with the budget field, and I'm setting this up as kind of a deadline or budget option. So it starts green and goes to yellow, then to red, to show that I'm approaching using all of my budget. And then we have the progress, which is basically taking in consideration which steps I've already completed, and we also have a weighted part for it, and I'm going to explain this in a little bit. So also I have a stage and buttons to add new steps and new expenses. So for the steps here are quite simple. They have a title, they connect to one of the projects. You have the estimates for start and end. We have the actual start and end, and then we have the status and the weight. Why is the weight important? Because by default, we're using the weight as 1. So every step here has the same importance. So if I have 10 steps, each one of them are equal to 10% of the project, right? But maybe one of those steps is more important than the other ones. So you can get like here, site preparation. And let's say that it's like, it has a weight of 4. It's 4 times more important than the other steps. And the impact that this is going to have in the template is that you can see here that now I have already completed 44% of the project. So the steps in the projects have weights, and you can change them. You can change them in the automation. You can change them directly in the card itself. But the idea here is that you can attribute, you can assign different values to different steps, and this is going to reflect in the progress. So when you finish a step that's more important, there's a bigger percentage that you're going to cover of the project itself, right? So for the steps, this is basically it, right? And for the expenses, it's a very simple table. It's basically just the title of the construction expense, the expense date, the amount, a field, an image field for the receipt or the invoice, and a connection field to show me for which project that expense was incurred, right? So you guys can see that we're using a lot of super forms here as well. So it's a little bit more pleasing aesthetically to use the platform. We're also informing, we're teaching people how to use the template, right? So use the date the expense was incurred paid, or not the date of submission, right? So if I'm submitting a receipt, it's not, I shouldn't put in the date of today. I should put in the date of the receipt itself, and so on. So there's a lot of little details here. So if I create a new project, you can see that this is a super form. It's customized, so we can have more than one field in one row, and so on. So the biggest secret here of this template is the part of generating the steps. It's a very simple automation. I'm just going to show you guys how it's done. So I'm going to activate builder mode, and I'm going to click here and go to manage automations. And you guys can see here that I have an automation for creating steps, right? So when a new record is created here in projects, here in construction projects, I create a new record. I'm going to create 6 new records here, one for each step. So I'm going to create a new record in the table steps. The first one is going to be site preparation. I'm using variables here. So basically it's going to start at the estimated start date of the project, and then it's going to end 30 days later. It's going to connect to the project that I've just created. It's going to be weighted as one, and it's going to go to status planned. And then I do this for each one of these steps. So the next one is foundation construction, but then it's going to start 30 days later, and it's going to finish 60 days later. So basically, I'm just saying that the steps are being created 30 days from each other, right? And they're all the same setup here. So basically I'm just creating all of these steps, and so this is kind of like a template for a project. And when I create a project, all of the steps are going to be created automatically. Then I can just change the estimate dates and so on, right? So I think this is it for the template. Banak, do you have anything that you'd like to show? Anything else that you'd like to see here?
Regarding the expenses, we could add two more things that we have shown like last week and the week before. It's you could do in a way that you just upload an image and it would automatically fill out all the form information using AI. You could also add buttons for approval for a manager or something for that specific project. And just a reminder that you can also customize this if you want to add more features, if you want to change the way that you visualize your data, if you want to add even more charts, it's also possible. So that's a really nice way to solve this problem. We are going to also make this available on our template store. So if anyone have any question or if you have a suggestion for improvement, we can bring this on another live for all of you. And next week we'll be back with another app automation installation that we're going to show you how to fix or solve a problem in your Jestor. So thank you guys. See you.